Welcome to my garden side quest. Today we are starting the last of the indoor seeds that'll be outside in the vegetable garden. I'm starting squash and cucumbers and a little bit of cilantro. Last year in my garden, I did not have very good luck with squash. Normally I fight off all of the squash bugs and my squash do great the entire season. Last year I tried planting squash in a new area of my garden, in a new bed that had just been developed, and it's alongside of a garage, and that bed did not get as much sun, I don't think, as what squash need to be successful. So my zucchini plants all died except for one variety, and that variety I grew to love, and I feel like it's going to be my favorite variety. I don't even know if it's considered a zucchini, but it's called Tremboncino, and it's actually a vining squash. So when I grow my zucchini, you'll see this summer, I train it to grow up a stick, and I just tie it off as it grows up. This variety actually vines and grows along a cow panel, and it took up an entire 8-foot by 16-foot cow panel from one single plant, and it just took over, and it grew these enormous long squashes that were delicious if you pick them young. Kind of tastes like a zucchini. If you let them set on the vine longer, they got a bit firmer and it developed into kind of like a fall squash, which were still absolutely delicious on the grill. So I'm doing 2 sets of these this year in hopes that I have great germination, and I'm going to do them on 2 of the cow panels. And then I also found this variety called Kazuzi squash, and it looks similar to the Tremboncini that I grew, that I loved. So we'll see how this one turns out. Wow, these seeds are the oddest looking squash seeds I've ever seen. Look at this seed. It's like flat on one side. It's weird. Another one of my favorite types of squash to grow are these round ones. These round ones are delicious if you roast them. Well, scoop out a little bit of the inside first and then roast them. And then you could fill the inside with like meat. Kind of reminded me of stuffed peppers that I like to make a lot, but this was stuffed squash. So I've been planting zucchini now for about 13 years. And like I said earlier, last year was not very good for me because where I started it. But one variety that I've never had any luck with growing, whether I buy them at the store as a plant that has already started, or if I start it myself, is golden zucchini. Now, it's not a germination issue because it germinates just fine. It transfers out to the garden just fine. But for whatever reason, I could never get golden zucchini to live long enough to produce fruit. So I've never eaten a golden zucchini. Maybe this year will be different. These are the squashes that I planted. Cuisini, Tromboncino. These are the delicious ones that I said took up the whole cow panel. Ambassador, black zucchini, Castira, cash flow, Cocozelle, Costata, Romanesca zucchini, Ford Hook, Black Beauty, Garden Spineless zucchini, Gray zucchini, Golden zucchini, cross my fingers, hopefully it grows this year, Italian striped, Nimba, Round, Spineless Beauty, Spineless Supreme, and Tondo Scuro di, I don't know, something. All right, so those are all my varieties of zucchini that we planted.
So if you can't pronounce it, you don't get to plant them.
Yeah.
That's the new rule.
Exactly. All right, so that's a lot of squash. I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 varieties of squash. So hopefully I'll be able to get 20 squash plants out in my garden this year. Fingers crossed. All right, now that the squash is done, we're gonna go ahead and move on to spinach. Spinach is a spring crop, so I will be transferring it out into the garden here in a couple of weeks, but I like to give it a little bit of a jump start in the house. Last year was the first year we ever tried growing spinach, and it was a huge success. Spinach was actually really easy to grow. I think my biggest struggle was finding ways to eat it. We had spinach in our salad. We had, I made like pesto spinach kind of that we were able to add to spaghetti sauce throughout the winter. And then I gave some of it away to my sister's family to feed to her bearded dragon because we just had so much of it. Varieties of spinach that I planted this year include Giant Noble, American spinach, Bloomingdale's, Butterfly, Double Choice Hybrid, Salad Sensation Hybrid, Spinach Space, and Verdil. Interesting thing about this spinach space is I planted it in November out in my garden, hoping for like a late fall crop. It didn't work out for me. However, when I was out in the garden yesterday, I saw my little tag that said space spinach, and there was a whole little row of spinach growing. So I'm excited to have some of that starting itself out in the garden. The last thing that I'm planting this afternoon is cilantro. I like to start some cilantro And then I actually sprinkle some cilantro seeds in the garden once I transplant the little plants. So I'll transplant the little plants and then I will sprinkle some of the same variety of seeds around that plant. And I have several varieties of cilantro, just like everything else in my garden. So I'm putting 2 tags in each cell of the cilantro because I'm planting a small little pile of seeds in there, and then when I'm ready to transplant, I'll kind of separate it into 2 little bushes and then plant them. So I want 2 different tags because they'll be on 2 different areas of the garden. So for the cilantro, coriander, the different varieties that I planted include dwarf lemon, slow bolt, Santo, leisure splits. These are like half of a cilantro seed. So if you think of a cilantro seed as a sphere, these are actually like spheres that are cut in half. So I'll be interested to see how they germinate compared to the ones that are actually full seeds. Large leaf, confetti, coriander, plain old cilantro, and then calypso. Those are the varieties I'm starting of cilantro this year. Thank you for joining me on my garden side quest as I finish up planting seeds for this year. Happy planting!